I've just finished my first year as an AVID elective teacher with my first group of freshmen. I'm an English teacher, and I also just finished my third year of teaching. So probably I'm not the person you would expect to find standing in front of you to talk about how AVID has impacted my life, since I've only been a part of AVID for a short time. The simple fact is, AVID has the ability to transform lives in a short time. And sometimes this transformation happens in the most unexpected of ways. I wanted to be an AVID teacher because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help change lives. Little did I know that the 30 lives I made a commitment to change would also unexpectedly and irrevocably change mine. Before AVID, I felt like the painter without the proper tools to create my masterpiece. And I was frustrated because I wasn't able to create my vision. I wanted to make a difference while teaching my students something worthwhile. I taught lessons that were engaging and challenging. I tried to connect with kids by making the material relevant and interesting. But something was still missing. I still didn't feel like I was doing anything that really mattered. Then I became an AVID teacher, and I discovered my analogy and approach was all wrong. I realized this wasn't my masterpiece to paint. In order for me to be the teacher my students needed, this couldn't be my vision or need for expectations or results. This journey had to be their vision and their expectations. AVID gave me the opportunity to grow up and to develop as a teacher. I knew that I had accepted a responsibility, and I played an important role in my students' lives. AVID was the only chance for most of these kids to make it. And that's really all these kids, my AVID kids, need, a chance. A chance to be safe and have a place to call home. A chance to have someone believe them and believe in them. A chance to have someone push them beyond what they believe is possible. A chance to achieve what no one before them has been able to accomplish. AVID is giving them this opportunity, and I am the one who is revealing all the parts and pieces of AVID to them. Finding the balance in my role is a tricky thing, one that will take years to refine and one that may never be perfected. I know and accept that I cannot make my AVID kids do anything. No matter how much I might want them to, no matter how much I threaten them or bribe them, ultimately it is up to them. And that was the hardest truth to accept. I can only show them, love them, push them, challenge them, and provide them as many opportunities as possible so they will want to make the choices that will get them to the places they want to go. Now for the things I can control. These are the things an AVID teacher must take full advantage of in order to balance out and influence the fate of the things we cannot control. Being an AVID teacher has taught me to embrace and fully utilize all of the sources around me. Teaching is a hard job, and trying to do everything on my own is pushing the job dangerously close to the impossible and insane. I have learned that the more people you involve in the student's education, the chances for that student's success increase exponentially. If my students know that I am talking to everyone in their lives, they feel more accountable, not only to me, but to all of those people. They also realize that they do matter, that there are all these people who really care whether they succeed or fail. Consistency wasn't one of my strongest traits during my first 2 years of teaching. I think the reason I lacked consistency was because I was afraid of being the bad guy. The structure of AVID, especially the notebook checks and tutorials, require consistency. I learned how to set expectations for me and the students and work towards meeting them. I knew that I had to step up and provide a foundation for my AVID kids that would prepare them for the next 4 years, and that I had to do it from the very beginning, or else I would be failing them. I began by requiring tutorial questions to be written prior to class. That meant not standing in the hallway 1 minute prior to the bell ringing, scribbling a question. The kids started responding slowly, but eventually I began getting tutorial questions of a higher caliber. And tutorials, according to the kids, were more worthwhile. The best part is that because of my consistency, I have now set an expectation and routine that will carry over for the next 4 years. Now, I always thought I did a pretty good job of connecting with my students, but now I realize there are different levels of connecting. Prior to AVID, I was only really scratching the surface because I hadn't set the stage for anything more. I have learned how important and necessary it is to develop relationships that go beyond the easy and the obvious. After our first semester as an AVID class, we reached a critical point. Some students were feeling alienated from others in the class, some students were feeling bitter towards me, and the class environment was tense. It was something I had watched brewing, but I felt helpless and didn't know how to fix it. I developed a strategy using an open conversation I called Talk It Out. The idea is to give the kids a chance to talk about topics on their minds and connect with each other on a deeper level. I hoped by incorporating these conversations, it would help with some of the issues that were brewing. The kids write topics on a slip of paper, and I draw them for discussion. During the second open conversation time, we had a breakthrough, even though it didn't start off too well. The kids were all talking at the same time and weren't really taking any of the topics to heart. The next topic I pulled out said, "Why can't I switch AVID classes?" I was crushed to find that someone wanted out of my AVID class. Marie immediately spoke up. She had recently confided in me about being sexually abused as a child, and I felt that we were really connecting. So her question surprised and hurt, but I realized I needed to listen. She talked to the class about her struggles and frustrations and the problems she was having with her peers and with me. A conversation followed that will forever change the climate of our AVID class. Her courage to speak about issues that bothered her but affected the entire class forced us to see our relationship with one another. Together, we talked about what needed to happen for us to grow as an AVID family. I was amazed as I watched my AVID students reach out to one another. They set a goal to never let anyone feel left out or inferior. That discussion also gave me the opportunity to admit to the class that I wasn't perfect and that I was learning how all of this worked just like they were. I needed to confide in them if I hoped to earn their trust. It's important for them to know that my motives are pure, even if I didn't always go about things the right way. We all walked away from that conversation with a deeper understanding and respect for one another. Everything that I have learned and continue to learn through AVID, I also try and incorporate with my other classes. I have become a better teacher and a better person. I make more phone calls home, send more emails to other teachers and other AVID teachers. I try different teaching strategies and methods. I listen to the kids. I remember that when a student walks through my door, I don't know what's going on in their lives. Instead of jumping down a kid's throat because I haven't seen them in 3 classes, I start by asking them if they're okay and let them know I'm glad to see them. I let the kid know I'm on their side. While class is important, content becomes irrelevant if you don't connect with your students' lives. And the reward for all of this? You get to sit back and watch the kids paint their own masterpieces. Thank you.